Does it work? Well, I can hear myself on another device. So, the book of the Cave of Treasures. By the might of our Lord Jesus Christ, we begin to write the book of the succession of the generations, that is to say, Me'arath Gassi, which was composed by Saint Maraphrem, that is, Ephraim. O our Lord, help thou me in thy mercy. Amen. In the beginning, on the first day, which was the holy first day of the week, the chief and firstborn of all the days, God created the heavens and the earth, and the waters and the air, and the fire, and the hosts which are invisible, that is to say, the angels, archangels, thrones, lords, principalities, powers, cherubim, and seraphim, and all the ranks and companies of spiritual beings, and the light, and the night, and the daytime, and the gentle winds, and the strong winds. All these were created on the first day. And on the first day of the week, the Spirit of holiness, one of the persons of the Trinity, hovered over the waters. And through the hovering thereof over the face of the waters were blessed, so that they might become producers of offspring, and they became hot, and the whole nature of the waters glowed with heat, and the leaven of creation was united to them, as the mother bird maketh warm her young by the embrace of her closely covering wings, and the young birds acquire form through the warmth of the heat which they derive from her. So through the operation of the Spirit of holiness, the Spirit, the Paraclete, the leaven of the breath of life, was united to the waters when he hovered over them. And on the second day God made the lower heaven, and called it firmament. This he did, that he might make known that the lower heaven doth not possess the nature of the heaven which is above it, and that it is different in appearance from the heaven which is above it. For the heaven above it is of fire, and that second heaven is light, and this lower heaven is of firm substance, and because it hath the dense nature of water, it hath been called firmament. And on the second day God made a separation between the waters and the waters, that is to say, between the waters which were above and the waters which were below. And the ascent of these waters which were above heaven took place on the second day, and they were like unto a dense black cloud of thick darkness. Thus were they raised up there, and they mounted up, and behold, they stand above the firmament in the air, and they do not spread, and they make no mention to any side. And on the third day God commanded the waters that were below the firmament to be gathered together in one place, and the dry land to appear. And when the covering of water had been rolled up from the face of the earth showed itself to be in an unsettled and unstable state, that is to say, it was of a damp and yielding nature. And the waters were gathered together into seas, that were under the earth and within it and upon it. And God made in the earth from below corridors and shafts and channels for the passage of the waters, and the winds which come from within the earth ascend by means of these corridors and channels, and also the heat and the cold for the service of the earth. Now as for the earth, the lower part of it is like unto a thick sponge, for it resteth on the waters. And on this third day God commanded the earth, and it brought forth herbs and vegetables, and it conceived in its interior trees and seeds and plants and roots. And on the fourth day God made the sun and the moon and the stars. And as soon as the heat of the sun was diffused over the surface of the earth became hard and rigid, and lost its flaccidity, because the humidity and the dampness caused by the waters were taken away from it. The Creator made the sphere of the sun of fire, and filled it with light. And God gave unto the sphere of the moon and the stars bodies of water and air, and filled them with light. And when the dust of the earth became hot, it brought forth all the trees and plants and seeds and roots which had been conceived inside it on the third day. And on the fifth day God commanded the waters, and they brought forth all kind of fish of diverse appearances, and creatures which move about and twist themselves and wriggle in the waters, and serpents and leviathan and beasts of terrible aspects, and feathered fowl of the air and of the waters. And on this same day God made from the earth all the cattle and wild beasts, and all the reptiles which creep about upon the earth. And on the sixth day, which is the eve of the Sabbath, God formed man out of the dust, and Eve from his rib. And on the seventh day God rested from his labors, and it is called Sabbath. Now the formation of Adam took place in this wise. On the sixth day, which is the eve of the Sabbath, at the first hour of the day, when quietness was reigning over all the ranks and the hosts, God said, Come ye, let us make man in our image, and according to our likeness. Now by this word us he maketh known concerning the glorious persons. And when the angels heard this utterance, they fell into a state of fear and trembling, and they said to one another, A mighty miracle will be made manifest to us this day, that is to say, the likeness of God our Maker. And they saw the right hand of God opened out flat and stretched out over the whole world, and all creatures were collected in the palm of his right hand. And they saw that he took from the whole mass of the earth one grain of dust, and from the whole nature of water one drop of water, and from all the air which is above one puff of wind, and from the whole nature of fire a little of its heat and warmth. And the angels saw that when these four feeble materials were placed in the palm of his right hand, that is to say, cold and heat and dryness and moisture, God formed Adam. Now, for what reason did God make Adam out of these four materials, unless it were to show that everything which is in the world should be in subordination to him through them? He took a grain from the earth in order that everything in nature which is formed of earth should be subject unto him, and a drop of water in order that everything which is in the seas and rivers should be his, and a puff of air, so that all kinds of creatures which fly in the air might be given unto him, and the heat of fire, so that all the beings that are fiery in nature and the celestial hosts might be his helpers. God formed Adam with his holy hands, in his own image and likeness, and when the angels saw Adam's glorious appearance, they were greatly moved by the beauty thereof. For they saw the image of his face, burning with glorious splendor like the orb of the sun, and the light of his eyes was like the light of the sun, and the image of his body was like unto the sparkling of crystal. And when he rose at full length and stood upright in the center of the earth, he planted his 2 feet on that spot whereon was set up the cross of our Redeemer, for Adam was created in Jerusalem. There he was arrayed in the apparel of sovereignty, and there was the crown of glory set upon his head. There was he made king, and priest, and prophet. There did God make him to sit upon his honorable throne, And there did God give him dominion over all creatures and things, and all the wild beasts, and all the cattle, and the feathered fowl were gathered together, and they passed before Adam, and he assigned names to them, and they bowed their heads before him, and everything in nature worshipped him, and submitted themselves unto him. And the angels and the hosts of heaven heard the voice of God saying unto him, Adam, behold, I have made thee king, and priest, and prophet, and Lord, and head, and governor of everything which hath been made and created. They shall be in subjection unto thee, and they shall be thine, and I have given unto thee power over everything which I have created. And when the angels heard this speech, they all bowed the knee and worshipped him. When the prince of the lower order of angels saw what great majesty had been given unto Adam, he was jealous of him from that day, and he did not wish to worship him. And he said unto his hosts, Ye shall not worship him, and ye shall not praise him with the angels. It is meet that ye should worship me, because I am fire and spirit, and not that I should worship a thing of dust, which hath been fashioned of fine dust. And the rebel, meditating these things, would not render obedience to God, and of his own free will he asserted his independence and separated himself from God. But he was swept away out of heaven and fell, and the fall of himself and of all his company from heaven took place on the 6th day, at the 2nd hour of the day. And the apparel of their glorious state was stripped of them. And his name was called Satana, because he turned aside from the right way, and Sheda, because he was cast out, and Daiva, because he lost the apparel of his glory. And behold, from that time until the present day, he and all his hosts have been stripped of their apparel, and they go naked and have horrible faces. And when Satana was cast out from heaven, Adam was raised up so that he might ascend to paradise in a chariot of fire. And the angels went before him, singing praises. And the seraphim ascribed holiness unto him, and the cherubim ascribed blessing. And amid cries of joy and praises, Adam went into paradise. And as soon as Adam entered paradise, he was commanded not to eat of a certain tree. His entrance into heaven took place at the 3rd hour of the eve of the Sabbath on Friday morning. And God cast a sleep upon Adam, and he slept. And God took a rib from the loins of the right side of Adam, and he made Hawa, Eve, from it. And when Adam woke up and saw Eve, he rejoiced in her greatly. And Adam and Eve were in paradise, and clothed with glory, and shining with praise for 3 hours. Now this paradise was situated on a high range of hills, and was 30 spans according to the measurement of the Spirit, higher than all the mountains, and it surrounded the whole earth. Now Moses, the prophet, said that God planted paradise in Eden and placed Adam there. Now Eden is the Holy Church, and the Church is the compassion of God which he was about to extend to the children of men. For God, according to his foreknowledge, knew what Satan had devised against Adam, and therefore he set Adam beforehand in the bosom of his compassion, even as the blessed David singeth concerning him in the psalm, saying, Lord, thou hast been an abiding place for us throughout all generations. That is to say, thou hast made us to have our abiding place in thy compassion. And when entreating God on behalf of the redemption of the children of men, David said, Remember thy church which thou didst acquire in olden time. That is to say, remember thy compassion which thou art about to spread over our feeble race. Eden is the Holy Church, and the paradise which was in it is the land of rest, and the inheritance of life, which God hath prepared for all the holy children of men. And because Adam was priest and king and prophet, God brought him into paradise that he might minister in Eden, the Holy Church, even as the blessed man Moses testified concerning him, saying that he might serve God by means of priestly ministration with praise, and that he might keep that commandments which had been entrusted to him by the compassion of God. And God made Adam and Eve to dwell in paradise. True is this word, and it proclaimeth the truth. That tree of life, which was in the midst of paradise, prefigured the redeeming cross, which is the veritable tree of life, and this it was that was fixed in the middle of the earth. And when Satan saw that Adam and Eve were happy and joyful in paradise, that rebel was smitten sorely with jealousy, and became filled with wrath. And he went and took up his abode in the serpent. And he raised him up and made him to fly through the air to the skirts of Mount Eden, whereon was paradise. Now, why did Satan enter the body of the serpent and hide himself therein? Because he knew that his appearance was foul, and that if Eve saw his form, she would betake herself to flight straightway before him. Now the man who wished to teach the Greek language to a bird, not a bird that can learn the speech of man, is called Babaga, that is parrot, first bringeth a large mirror and placeth between himself and the bird. He then beginneth to talk to the bird, and immediately the parrot heareth the voice of the man, it turneth round, and when it seeth its own form reflected in the mirror, it becometh pleased straightway, because it imagineth that a fellow parrot is talking to it. Then it inclineth its ear with pleasure, and listeneth to the words of the man who is talking to it, and it becometh eager to learn and to speak Greek. In this manner did Satan enter in and dwell in the serpent, and he watched for the opportunity, and when he saw Eve by herself, he called her by her name, and when she turned round towards him, she saw her own form reflected in him, and she talked to him, and Satan led her astray with his lying words, because the nature of woman is soft or yielding. And when Eve had heard from him concerning that tree, straightway she ran quickly to it, and she plucked the fruit of disobedience from the tree of transgression of the command, and she ate. Then immediately she found herself stripped naked, and she saw the hatefulness of her shame. And she ran away naked, and hid herself in another tree, and covered her nakedness with the leaves thereof. And she cried out to Adam, and he came to her, and she handed to him some of the fruit of which she had eaten, and he also did eat thereof. And when he had eaten, he also became naked. And he and Eve made girdles for their loins of the leaves of the fig trees, and they were arrayed in these girdles of ignominy for 3 hours. At midday they received their sentence of doom, and God made for them tunics of skin, which was stripped from the trees, that is to say, of the bark of the trees, because the trees that were in paradise had soft barks, and they were softer than the byssus and silk, wherefrom the garments worn by kings are made. And God dressed them in this soft skin, which was thus spread over a body of infirmities. At the 3rd hour of the day, Adam and Eve ascended into paradise, and for 3 hours they enjoyed the good things thereof. For 3 hours they were in shame and disgrace, and at the 9th hour their expulsion from paradise took place. And as they were going forth sorrowfully, God spake unto Adam, and heartened him, and said unto him, Be not sorrowful, O Adam, for I will restore unto thee thine inheritance. Behold, see how greatly I have loved thee, for though I have cursed the earth for thy sake, yet have I withdrawn thee from the operation of the curse. As for the serpent, I have fettered his legs in his belly, and I have given him the dust of the earth for food. And Eve have I bound under the yoke of servitude. Inasmuch as thou hast transgressed my commandments, get thee forth, but be not sad. After the fulfillment of the times which I have allotted, that you shall be in exile outside paradise, in the land which is under the curse, behold, I will send my Son, and he shall go down from heaven for thy redemption. He shall sojourn in a virgin, and shall put on a body of flesh, and through him redemption and a return shall be effected for thee. But command thy sons and order them to embalm thy body after thy death with myrrh, cassia, and stacte, and they shall place thee in this cave wherein I am making you to dwell this day, until the time when your expulsion shall take place from the region of paradise to that earth which is outside it. And whosoever shall be left in those days shall take thy body with him, and shall deposit it on the spot which I shall show him, in the center of the earth, for in that place shall redemption be effected for thee and for all thy children. And God revealed unto Adam everything which the Son would suffer on behalf of him. And when Adam and Eve had gone forth from paradise, the door of paradise was shut, and a cherub bearing a two-edged sword stood by it. And Adam and Eve went down over the mountains of paradise, and they found a cave on the top of the mountain. And they entered and hid themselves therein. Now Adam and Eve were virgins, and Adam wished to know Eve his wife. And Adam took from the skirts of the mountain of paradise gold and myrrh and frankincense, and he placed them in the cave. And he blessed the cave and consecrated it, that it might be the house of prayer for himself and his sons. And he called the cave, Cave of Treasures. So Adam and Eve went down from that holy mountain of Eden to the slopes which were below it, and there Adam knew Eve his wife. And Eve conceived and brought forth Cain, and Lepuda his sister with him. And Eve conceived again, she brought forth Habil, Abel, and Kelimat his sister with him. And when the children grew up, Adam said unto Eve, Let Cain take to wife Kelimath, who was brought forth with Abel, and let Abel take to wife Lepuda, who was brought forth with Cain. And Cain said unto Eve his mother, I will take to wife my twin sister Lepuda, and let Abel take to wife his twin sister Kelimath. Now Lepuda was beautiful. When Adam heard these words, which were exceedingly displeasing unto him, he said, It will be a transgression of the commandment for thee to take to wife thy sister who was born with thee. Nevertheless, take ye to yourselves fruits of trees, and the young of sheep, and get ye up to the top of this holy mountain. Then go ye into the cave of treasures, and offer ye up your offerings, and make your prayers, and then ye shall consort with your wives. And it came to pass that when Adam, the first priest, and Cain and Abel, his sons, were going up to the top of the mountain, Satan entered into Cain and persuaded him to kill Abel, his brother, because of Lepuda. And because his offering was rejected and was not accepted before God, was the offering of Abel was accepted. Cain's jealousy of his brother Abel was increased, and when they came down to the plain, Cain rose up against his brother Abel, and he killed him with a blow from a stone of flint. Then straightway Cain received the doom of death instead of curses, and he became a fugitive and a wanderer all the days of his life. And God drove him forth into exile in a certain part of the forest of Nod. And Cain took to wife his twin sister, and made the place of his abode there. And Adam and Eve mourned for Abel 100 years. And then Adam knew his wife again, and she brought forth Seth, the beautiful, a man mighty and perfect like unto Adam. And he became the father of the mighty men who lived before the flood. And Seth was born Enos, and Enos begot Canaan, and Canaan begot Mahalaleel. These are the patriarchs who were born in the days of Adam. And when Adam had lived 930 years, that is to say, until the 135th year of Mahalaleel, the day of his death drew nigh and came. And Seth his son, and Enosh, and Canaan, and Mahalaleel gathered themselves together and came to him, and they were blessed by him, and he prayed over them. And he commanded his son Seth, and said unto him, Observe, my son Seth, that which I command thee this day, and do thou on the day of thy death give my command to Enosh, and repeat it to him, and let him repeat it to Canaan, and Canaan shall repeat it to Mahalaleel. And let this my command be handed on to all your generations, which you have not done. And when I die, embalm me with myrrh and cassia and stacte, and deposit my body in the cave of treasures. And whosoever shall be left of your generations in that day, when your going forth from this country, which is round about paradise, shall take place, shall carry my body with him, and shall take it and deposit it in the center of the earth. For in that place shall redemption be effected for me and for all my children. And be thou, my son, set governor of the sons of thy people, and thou shalt rule them purely and holily in all the fear of God, and keep ye your offspring separate from the offspring of Cain the murderer. And when the report Adam is dying was known generally, all his offspring gathered together and came to him, that is to say, Seth his son, and Enosh, and Canaan, and Mahalalel, they and their wives and their sons and their daughters, and Adam blessed them. And the departure of Adam from this world took place in the 930th year, according to the reckoning from the beginning, on the 14th day of the moon, on the 6th day of the month of Nisan, April, at the 9th hour, on the day of the eve of the Sabbath, that is Friday, at the same hour in which the Son of Man delivered up his soul to his Father on the cross, did our father Adam deliver up his soul to him that fashioned him, and he departed from this world. And when Adam was dead, his son Seth embalmed him, according as Adam had commanded him, with myrrh and cassia and stacte. Now Adam's dead body was the first body buried in the earth, and grief for him was exceedingly sore, and Seth and his sons mourned for his death 140 days, and they took Adam's body up to the top of the mountain and buried it in the cave of treasures. And after the families and peoples of the children of Seth had buried Adam, they separated themselves from the children of Cain, the murderer. And Seth took Enosh, his firstborn, and Canaan and Mahalalel, and their wives and children, and led them up into the glorious mountain where Adam was buried. And Cain and all his descendants remained below on the plain where Cain slew Abel. And Seth became the governor of the children of his people, and he ruled them in purity and holiness, and because of their purity they received the name which is the best of all names, and were called the sons of God, they and their wives and their sons. Thus they lived in that mountain in all purity and holiness, and in the fear of God. And they went up on the skirts of the mountain of paradise. They became praisers and glorifiers of God in the place of that host of devils who fell from heaven. There they dwelt in peace and happiness. There was nothing about which they needed to feel anxiety. They had nothing to weary or trouble them, and they had nothing to do except to praise and glorify God with the angels. For they heard continually the voices of the angels who were singing praises in paradise, which was situated at no great height above them, in fact, only about 30 spans, according to the measure of the Spirit. They suffered neither toil nor fatigue. They had neither seedtime nor harvest, but they fed themselves with the delectable fruits of glorious trees of all kinds, and they enjoyed the sweet scent and perfume of the breezes which were wafted forth to them from paradise. Thus lived these holy men, who were indeed holy, and their wives were pure, and their sons were virtuous, and their daughters were chaste and undefiled. In them there was no rebellious thought, no envy, no anger, no enmity. In their wives and daughters there was no impure longing, and neither lasciviousness, nor cursing, nor lying was heard among them. The only oath which they used in swearing was by the blood of Abel. And they and their wives and their children used to rise up early in the morning and go up to the top of that holy mountain and worship there before God. And they were blessed by the body of Adam, their father, and they lifted up their eyes to paradise and praised God. And thus they did all the days of their life. And when Seth had lived 913 years, he became sick unto death. And Enosh his son, and Canaan, and Mahalalel, and Jared, and Enoch, and their wives and their sons gathered together and came unto him, and they were blessed by him. And he prayed over them, and commanded them, and made them to take an oath, and said unto them, I will make you to take an oath, and to swear by the holy blood of Abel, that none of you will go down from this holy mountain to the children of Cain the murderer. For ye know well the enmity which hath existed between us and Cain from the day whereon he slew Abel. And Seth blessed Enosh his son, and gave him commands concerning the body of Adam. And he made him ruler over the children of his people, and Seth ruled them in purity and in holiness, and he ministered diligently before the body of Adam. And Seth died when he was 912 years old, on the 27th day of the blessed month of Ab, August, on the 2nd day of the week, Monday, at the 3rd hour in the 20th year of the life of Enoch. And Enosh, Seth's firstborn son, embalmed his body and buried him in the cave of treasures with his father Adam. And they made a mourning for him 40 days. And Enosh rose up to minister before God in the cave of treasures, and he became the governor of the children of his people, and he kept all the commandments which his father Seth had commanded him, and he urged them to be constant in prayer. And in the days of Enosh, in his 820th year, Lamech the blind man killed Cain the murderer in the forest of Nod. Now this killing took place in the following manner: as Lamech was leaning on the youth, his son Tubal-Cain, and the youth was setting straight his father's arm in the direction in which he saw the quarry, he heard the sound of Cain moving about backwards and forwards in the forest. Now Cain was unable to stand still in one place and to hold his peace, and Lamech, thinking that it was a wild beast that was making a movement in the forest, raised his arm, and having made ready, drew his bow and shot an arrow towards that spot, and the arrow smote Cain between his eyes, and he fell down and died. Lamech, thinking that he had shot game, spake to the youth, saying, Make haste, and let us see what game we have shot. And when they went to the spot, and the boy on whom Lamech leaned had looked, he said unto him, O my lord, thou hast killed Cain. Lamech moved his hands to smite them together, and as he did so, he smote the youth and killed him also. And when Enosh had lived 905 years and was sick unto death, all the patriarchs gathered themselves together and came unto him, that is Canaan his firstborn son, and Mahalalel, and Jared, and Enoch, and Methuselah, and they and their wives and their sons, and they were blessed by him, and he prayed over them, and commanded them, and spake unto them, saying, I will make you to swear by the holy blood of Abel, that not one of you shall go down from this mountain to the plain, nor into the encampment of the children of Cain the murderer, and ye shall not mingle yourselves among them. Take ye good heed unto this matter, for ye well know what enmity hath existed between us and them from the day whereon Cain slew Abel. And he blessed Canaan his son, and commanded him concerning the body of Adam, that he should minister before it all the days of his life, and that he should rule over the children of his people in purity and holiness. And Enosh died at the age of 905 years, on the 3rd day of the month of the first Teshrin, October, on the day of the Sabbath, in the 53rd year of the life of Methuselah. And Canaan his firstborn embalmed him, and buried him in the cave of treasures with Adam and Seth his father. And they made a mourning for him 40 days. And Canaan stood up before God to minister in the cave of treasures. He was an honorable and pure man, and he governed the children of his people in the complete fear of God. And he fulfilled all the commandments of Enosh his father. And when Canaan had lived 920 years and was sick unto death, all the patriarchs gathered together and came unto him. That is Mahalalel, his son, and Jared, and Enoch, and Methuselah, and Lamech, they and their wives and their children, and were blessed by him. And he prayed over them and commanded them, saying, I will make you swear by the holy blood of Abel, that none one of you shall go down from this holy mountain into the camp of the children of Cain, the murderer, for ye all know well what enmity hath existed between us and them since the day whereon he killed Abel. And he blessed his son Mahalalel, and admonished him concerning the body of Adam, and said unto him, Behold, O my son Mahalalel, minister thou before God in purity and holiness in the cave of treasures, and depart not thou from the presence of the body of Adam all the days of thy life, and be thou the governor of the children of thy people, and rule thou them purely and holily. Canaan died, being 920 years old, in the 13th day of the month of Hezron, June, on the 4th day of the week, Wednesday, at midday, in the 65th year of the life of Lamech, the father of Noah. And Mahalalel his son embalmed him and buried him in the cave of treasures, and they made mourning for him 40 days. And Mahalalel rose up and ministered before God in the place of Canaan his father. He was constant in prayer by day and by night, and he urged earnestly the children of his people to observe holiness and purity, and to pray without ceasing. And when Mahalalel had lived 895 years, and the day of his departure drew nigh, and he was sick unto death, all the patriarchs gathered together and came unto him. That is, Jared his firstborn, and Enoch, and Methuselah, and Lamech, and Noah, they and their wives and their children, and were blessed by him. And he prayed over them, and commanded them, saying, I will make you to swear by the holy blood of Abel, that not one of you shall go down from this holy mountain, and ye shall not permit any one of your descendants to go down to the plain to the children of Cain the murderer. For ye all well know what enmity hath existed between us and them from the day whereon he slew Abel. And he blessed Jared his firstborn, and he commanded him concerning the body of Adam, and revealed unto him the place whereto he should make ready to go. And he also commanded him, and made him to swear an oath, saying, Thou shalt not depart from the body of our father Adam all the days of thy life, and thou shalt be the governor of the children of thy people, and shalt rule them in chastity and holiness. And Mahalalel died, being 895 years old, on the 2nd day of the month Nisan, April, on the 1st day of the week, Sunday, at the 3rd hour of the day, in the 34th year of the life of Noah. And Jared his firstborn embalmed him, and buried him in the cave of treasures. And the people made a mourning for him 40 days. And Jared his son rose up and ministered before God in the cave of treasures. He was a perfect man, and was complete in all the virtues, and he was constant in prayer by day and by night. And because of the excellence of his life and conversation, his days were longer than those of all the children of his people. And in the days of Jared, in the 500th year of his life, the children of Seth broke the oaths which their fathers had made them to swear, and they began to go down from that holy mountain to the encampment of iniquity of the children of Cain the murderer. And in this way the fall of the children of Seth took place. And in the 40th year of Jared, the first 1,000 years from Adam to Jared came to an end. And in these years the handicraftsmen of sin and the disciples of Satan appeared, for he was their teacher, and he entered in and dwelt in them, and he poured into them the spirit of the operation of error, through which the fall of the children of Seth was to take place. Jubal, and Tubal-Cain, the two brethren, the sons of Lamech, the blind man who killed Cain, invented and made all kinds of instruments of music. Jubal made reed instruments and harps and flutes and whistles, and the devils went and dwelt inside them. When men blew into the pipes, the devils sang inside them and sent out sounds from inside them. Tubal-Cain made cymbals and sistra and tambourines or drums, and lasciviousness and fornication increased among the children of Cain, and they had nothing to occupy them except fornication. Now they had no obligation to pay tribute, and they had neither prince nor governor. and eating and drinking, and lasciviousness, and drunkenness, and dancing, and singing to instruments of music, and the wanton sportings of the devils, and the laughter which affordeth pleasure to the devils, and the sounds of the furious lust of men, neighing after women. And Satan, finding his opportunity in this work of error, rejoiced greatly, because thereby he could compel the sons of Seth to come down from that holy mountain. There they had been made to occupy the place of that army of angels that fell with Satan. There they were beloved by God. There they were held in honor by the angels and were called sons of God. Even as the blessed David saith in the Psalm, I have said, ye are gods, and all of you sons of the Most High. Meanwhile, fornication reigned among the daughters of Cain, and without shame several women would run after one man, and one man would attack another, and they committed fornication in the presence of each other shamelessly. For all the devils were gathered together in the camp of Cain, and unclean spirits entered into the women and took possession of them. The old women were more lascivious than the maidens. Fathers and sons defiled themselves with their mothers and sisters. Sons respected not even their own fathers, and fathers made no distinction between their sons and other men. And Satan had been made ruler of that camp. And when the men and women were stirred up to lascivious frenzy by the devilish playing of the reeds, which emitted musical sounds, and by the harps which the men played through the operation of the power of the devils, and by the sounds of the tambourines and of the sistra, which were beaten and rattled through the agency of evil spirits, the sounds of their laughter were heard in the air above them, and ascended to that holy mountain. And when the children of Seth heard the noise and uproar and shouts of laughter in the camp of the children of Cain, about 100 of them, who were mighty men of war, gathered together and set their faces to go down to the camp of the children of Cain. When Jared heard their words and knew their intention, he became sorely afflicted, and he sent and called them to him, and said unto them, By the holy blood of Abel, I will have you swear that not one of you shall go down from this holy mountain. Remember ye the oaths which our fathers Seth and Enosh and Canaan and Mahalalel made you to swear. And Enoch also said unto them, Hearken, O ye children of Seth, no man who shall transgress the commandment of Jared and break the oaths of our fathers and go down from this mountain shall never again ascend it. But the children of Seth would neither hearken to the commandment of Jared, nor to the words of Enoch, and they dared to transgress the commandment. And those 100 men, who were mighty men of war, went down to the camp of Cain. And when they saw that the daughters of Cain were beautiful in form, and that they were naked and unashamed, the children of Seth became inflamed with the fire of lust. And when the daughters of Cain saw the goodliness of the children of Seth, they gripped them like ravening beasts and defiled their bodies. And the children of Seth slew their souls by fornication with the daughters of Cain. And when the children of Seth wished to go up again to that holy mountain, after they had come down and fallen, the stones of that holy mountain became fire in their sight, and having defiled their souls with the fire of fornication, God did not permit them to ascend to that holy place. And moreover, very many others made bold and went down after them, and they too fell. And when Jared had lived 960 years, and the day of his departure approached, and came nigh and arrived, all the patriarchs gathered themselves together, and came unto him, that is, Enoch, his firstborn, and Methuselah, and Lamech, and Noah. They and their wives and their children were blessed by him. And he prayed over them, and said unto them, I will make you to swear by the holy blood of Abel, that you will not go down from this holy mountain, for I know that God will not allow you to remain very much longer in this holy country. Inasmuch as ye have transgressed the commandment of your fathers, ye shall surely be cast out into that outer country, and ye shall no longer have your habitation on the skirts of the mountain of Paradise. And take ye good heed to this. Let him that is among you who shall go forth from that holy country take with him the body of our father Adam, and the offerings of gold, frankincense, and myrrh that are in the cave of treasures, and let him carry away and deposit the body in the place wherein he shall be commanded by God to set it down. And thou, my son Enoch, depart thou not from before the body of Adam, but minister before God purely and holily all the days of thy life. And Jared died, being 962 years old, on the 13th day of the month of Iyar, May, on the day of the eve of the Sabbath, Friday, at sunset, in the 366th year of the life of Noah. And Enoch, his son, embalmed him and buried him in the cave of treasures. And they made mourning for him 40 days, and Enoch stood up to minister before God in the cave of treasures. And the children of Seth turned aside from the right path and willed to go down. And Enoch and Methuselah and Lamech and Noah mourned over them. And Enoch had ministered before God for 50 years in the 365th year of the life of Noah. And when Enoch knew that God was about to remove him from the earth, he called Methuselah and Lamech and Noah and said unto them, I know that God is wroth with this generation, and that a pitiless judgment hath been decreed for the people thereof. Ye are the chiefs of this generation, and the remnant thereof. For no other man shall be born on this mountain, who shall be the chief of the children of his people. But take ye good heed to yourselves, and see that ye minister before God in purity and holiness. And when Enoch had given them his commandment in these words, God removed him to the land of life, and to the delectable mansions which are round about paradise, and to that country which is beyond the reach of death. And of all the children of Seth there remained only these three patriarchs in the mountain of the triumphant ones, that is, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah. For all the others had betaken themselves to the encampment of the sons of Cain. And when Noah saw that sin had increased in his generation, he preserved himself in virginity for 500 years. Then God spake unto him and said unto him, Take unto thee to wife Hylkel, the daughter of Namus, or Hylkel-Namus, the daughter of Enoch, the brother of Methuselah. And God revealed unto him concerning the flood which he was making ready to produce. And he spake to him and said unto him, 130 years from this moment I will make a flood. And God said unto Noah, Make for thyself an ark for the saving of the children of thy house, and build it in the plain below this mountain, in the encampment of the children of Cain. And ye shall cut down the timber for the same from the trees that are on this mountain, and thus shall be the dimensions thereof. Its length shall be 300 cubits according to thy cubit. Its breadth shall be 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. And above it shall be finished of 1 cubit, and make 3 stories in it. The lowermost shall be for wild animals and cattle, the middle one shall be for the birds and feathered fowl, and the topmost shall be for thee and the children of thy house. And make in it cisterns for water and cupboards for food, and make to thyself a striking board of Ashkara wood, which will not rot, 3 cubits long, and a cubit and a half in breadth. And there shall be a hammer of the same kind of wood. And with it thou shalt strike the board 3 times in the day, once in the morning, that the workmen may be gathered together for the work of the ark, and once at midday, that they may eat food, and once at sunset, so that they may cease from their labor. And when thou strikest the board, the men hear the sound of the blows, and say unto thee, What is this that thou doest? Thou shalt say unto them, God is going to make a flood of waters. And Noah did as God commanded him. And there were born unto him 3 sons within the space of 100 years, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And they took unto them wives of the daughters of Methuselah. And when Lamech had lived 770 years, he died during the lifetime of Methuselah his father, 40 years before the flood, on the 71st day of the month of Elul, September, on the first day of the week, Sunday, in the 68th year of the life of Shem, the firstborn of Noah. And Noah his firstborn embalmed him, and Methuselah his father swathed him for burial, and they buried him in the cave of treasures, and mourned for him 40 days. And Methuselah and Noah remained alone on the mountain, for all the children of Seth had gone down from the skirts of the mountain of Paradise to the plain where the children of Cain lived. And men, the children of Seth, had intercourse with the daughters of Cain, who conceived of them and brought forth men, giants, and the sons of giants, who were like unto towers. Now, because of this, certain ancient writers have fallen into error and have written, the angels came down from heaven and had intercourse with men, and by them these famous giants have been produced. But this is not true, for those who have written in this manner did not understand the facts. Behold, O my brother readers, and know ye that it is not in the nature of beings of the Spirit to beget, neither is it in the nature of the devils, who are unclean beings and workers of wickedness, and lovers of adultery, to beget, because they are neither males nor females among them. And since the time when the angels fell, not another angel has been added to their number. And if the devils were able to have intercourse with women, they would not leave unravished a single virgin in all the race of the children of men. And when Methuselah had lived 969 years, and the day of his departure had drawn nigh, Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth and their wives came unto him. Now of all the posterity of Seth, who had not betaken themselves down to the plain, only these 8 souls were left, that is Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth, and their wives, for no children were born to them before the flood. And when these gathered themselves together to Methuselah, and they had been blessed by him, he embraced them and kissed them sorrowfully, and wept over the fall of the children of Seth. And he said unto them, Of all the tribes and families of your fathers, this remnant consisting of 8 souls alone is left. May the Lord God of our fathers bless you. The Lord God, who formed our father Adam and Eve by themselves, and they were fruitful and multiplied, and the whole of the blessed land which was round about Paradise was filled with their progeny, shall make you to be fruitful and to multiply, and the whole earth shall be filled with you. He shall save you from the terrible wrath which hath been decreed against this rebellious generation. And he shall be with you, and he shall protect you. And the gift which was given by God unto our father Adam shall go forth with you from this holy country. And these 3 measures of the wheat of blessings which God gave unto your father Adam shall serve as leaven, and shall be kneaded into your seed and into the seed of your children, that is to say, royalty, priesthood, and prophecy. Hearken thou, Noah, thou blessed of the Lord. Behold, I am going forth from this world like all my fathers, but thou and thy children shall be saved, and thou shalt do everything which I am commanding you to do this day, for God will make the flood, When I die, embalm my body and bury me in the cave of treasures with my fathers. Take thy wife and thy sons and thy wives of thy sons, and get thee down from this holy mountain, and take with thee the body of our father Adam and these 3 offerings, gold and myrrh and frankincense. Set the body of Adam in the middle of the ark, and lay these offerings upon him. Thou and thy sons shall occupy the eastern part of the ark, and thy wife and thy sons' wives shall occupy the western part thereof. Thy wives shall not pass over to you, and ye shall not pass over to them. Ye shall neither eat nor drink with them, and ye shall have no intercourse whatsoever with them until ye go forth from the ark. Now this generation hath provoked God to wrath, and he will neither permit them to be neighbors of those who are in paradise, nor to praise him with the angels. And when the waters of the flood have subsided from the face of the earth, and ye go forth from the ark, and ye take up your abode in that land, thou, O Noah, the blessed of the Lord, shall not depart from the ark, from the body of our father Adam, but minister thou before God in the ark purely and holily all the days of thy life. And these offerings shall be placed in the east. And command thou Shem, thy firstborn, to take up with him after thy death the body of our father Adam, and to carry it and deposit it in the middle of the earth. And let him establish there a man from among his descendants, who shall minister there, and he shall be one who is set apart all the days of his life. He shall not take a wife, he shall not shed blood, he shall not offer up these offerings of wild animals and fatted fowl, but he shall offer unto God bread and wine. For by these redemption shall be made for Adam and all his posterity. And the angel of God shall go before him, and he shall show him the place where the middle of the earth is situated, and the apparel of him that shall stand up there to minister before the body of Adam shall be the skins of wild animals. He shall not shave off the hair of his head, and he shall not cut his nails, but he shall remain alone, because he is the priest of God the Most High. That was then Melchizedek. And when Methuselah had commanded Noah to do all these things, he died with tears in his eyes and sorrow in his heart. He was 969 years old when he died on the 14th day of the month Adar, March, on the first day of the week, Sunday, in the 79th year of the life of Shem, the son of Noah. And Noah his grandson embalmed the body of Methuselah with myrrh and cassia and stacte. And Noah and his sons buried him in the cave of treasures, and they and their wives made mourning for him 40 days. And when the days of his mourning had passed, Noah went into the cave of treasures and embraced and kissed the holy bodies of Seth, Enosh, and Canaan, and Mahalalel, and Jared, and Methuselah, and Lamech, his father. And he was greatly moved, and tears gushed from his eyes. And Noah carried the body of our father Adam, and the body of Eve, and his firstborn Shem, carried the gold, and Ham carried the myrrh, and Japheth the frankincense, and they went forth from the cave of treasures. And as they were coming down from that holy mountain, they were smitten sorely with grief, and they wept in agony, because they were to be deprived of that holy place and the habitation of their fathers. And weeping painfully and wailing sorrowfully and enveloped in gloom, they said, Remain in peace, O holy paradise, the habitation of our father Adam. He went forth from thee alive, but stripped of glory and naked. And behold, at his death he was deprived of thy nearness. He and his progeny were cast out into exile in that land of curses, to pass their days there in pain and sickness, and in labor and in weariness and in trouble. Remain in peace, O cave of treasures. Remain in peace, O habitation and inheritance of our fathers. Remain ye in peace, O our fathers and patriarchs. Pray ye for us, O ye who live in the dust, ye friends and beloved ones of the living God. Pray ye for the remnant of your posterity which is left, O ye who have propitiated God. Make supplication unto him on our behalf in your prayers. Remain in peace, O Enosh, remain ye in peace, O ye ministers of God. Canaan and Mahalalel and Jared and Methuselah and Lamech and Enoch, cry out in sorrow on our behalf. Remain in peace, O haven and asylum of the angels. O ye our fathers, cry out in sorrow on our behalf, because ye will be deprived of our society. And we will cry out in sorrow, because we are cast out into a bare land, for our habitation will be with the wild beasts. And as they were coming down from that holy mountain, they kissed the stones thereof, and embraced the delectable trees thereof. And in this wise they came down, and they wept with great sorrow, and shed scalding or bitter tears. And suffering sorely they descended to the plain. And Noah went into the ark, and deposited the body of Adam in the middle thereof, and he placed these offerings upon it. Now in the year wherein Noah went into the ark, the 2,000th year of the posterity of Adam, to the time of the flood, came to an end, according to what the 70 wise writers have told us. So this was the Cave of the Treasures. Chapter 1 to 17.